Now I think we're all set. I'm new to this streaming thing, to be honest. This is the third time I've done this, and I'm still getting used to the platform that we're using to stream. I will point out before we even get started that it is September in Seattle, which is why I'm celebrating with this sun-drenched Hawaiian shirt. You can't think of a better way. I couldn't think of a better way to get started with the rainy season than to, sort of ignore it and pretend it's not going to happen. Uh, Now, for today's topic, structuring your partner center accounts for success. You just might think that this is something of a dry topic, but I can assure you that nothing is further from the truth. This this is the intoxicating stuff of water cooler conversation. You and your friends are going to be all over it. Um, but seriously, this is pretty important info for folks getting started in Partner Center and folks who maybe already have Partner Center accounts and are wondering, did I set it up right? Is it going to go okay when I publish? These sorts of questions do come up. So I want to point out that I've just finished testing it. You can ask questions on both LinkedIn and YouTube, no matter where you're tuning in from at any time. And please don't wait for the end of the conversation or any other cue. Go ahead and drop your questions at any time, and I'll be happy to get to them. So let's start with what I've seen a little bit. People get confused when setting up Partner Center for the first time. And we, in our last webinar, went over how to set up a Partner Center account from scratch. So how we get started with logging, creating our Microsoft account, going in and validating our business is an actual business, signing up for the program, for the commercial marketplace program, and finally administering some users. We went over that stuff in a previous video, which you can find at our website at cumulus26.com. We have a learn section where we post learning material about the marketplace all the time. So please have a look there if you missed that first conversation or first webinar. Now, I said that people get a little bit confused and with Partner Center accounts, and it's very true. What happens often is someone will come in, they'll create an account, and then create a sub account, and maybe another sub account, and pretty soon they're not quite sure where they're publishing from, and it turns into a support incident. And I have to tell you, I have seen so many instances where there were support events that came up simply because of account configuration issues. Yeah. And it, unfortunately, in many cases does take support tickets to untangle that stuff. And this could delay the selling of your product on Marketplace. And I've seen it take weeks. And for unmanaged partners in particular, even with managed partners, it can take several days to a week to clear up some of these things. So today we're going to help you avoid that conversation. And believe it or not, today's material is actually going to be fairly quick. And although it's a fairly somewhat involved topic, we won't take long to go through it, and it'll be pretty self-explanatory by the time we're done. I think you'll have a good idea of what to do well in setting up your accounts. So I'm going to jump over to the presentation itself, and we'll jump off from here and look first at some of the topics that we'll be covering today. We are going to look at the individual accounts that you'll have in interacting with Partner Center, and then we're going to look at the business entities that get set up and that you'll want to configure in Partner Center once you've got your account set up. Those Partner Center account structures are so important. So we're going to look at different ways we can set up those business entities and those Partner Center account structures such that they're going to be a real success for you in the long term. And It may seem, I don't know, a little minor, but we're going to also cover identifiers of these business entities along the way. Now, why is that? It's because if for whatever reason you do find yourself in a help desk or a support ticket situation, the folks involved are going to want some of these numbers from you. So it's best to just know where to go look for them. Now, to be fair, or to be transparent, I should say, I'm not going to bring up my instance of Partner Center and show you where to find these things because um, I frankly don't want to share that confidential information through a public webinar, but I will give you pointers to how to find these things. So with that, let's jump off and look at account structures. That is, how do we want to set up our businesses in Partner Center? Well, we have several different types of accounts that we create or get created for us as individuals. And we saw in last week's webinar that I can approach the partner.microsoft.com site. I can sign up as a new partner through my Microsoft account. I can even create an account along the way. And once I do that, that Partner Center, that Microsoft account is used to instantiate my Partner Center account. So it also turns out that Azure accounts play a role here. So when you create that Partner Center account, it's going to tie back to Azure. In fact, that Microsoft account often will tie back to Azure as well, because it could be that you are signing in with a business account that is defined in Azure. That doesn't mean that you have Azure subscriptions, as we'll find out, but it does mean that each and every one of these accounts has roles and permissions that are specific to their context. So the Microsoft account, the Partner Center account, the Azure account, they each have different roles and permission types. Now, I said there are different types of ways of looking at our Azure accounts. There are two flavors, if you will, of Azure accounts. That is, accounts like yours that may not have an associated subscription. A subscription is the mechanism that bills, it's part of the mechanism that bills for Azure services, such that if your account is associated with a subscription, you're able to create Azure resources like databases and virtual machines and things like this. And what's important to know here is that you do not have to have an associated subscription in Azure to use that account in Partner Center. Okay. Now in Partner Center, we have different account types. You can have an account administrator. This account administrator is who you are if you're the person who signed up for Partner Center in the first place for your company, for your organization. Has control over everything in Partner Center, to include adding other folks to the user list and assigning their roles. Like you might assign a business profile administrator. This is somebody who can come in and manage certain aspects of the Partner Center account so that you can get things like tax and payout associated with your publishers, as we'll see in a few moments. And then you might have a developer. And a developer may very well need to be able to publish an offer from start to finish. And so you can assign a developer to, or assign developer as a role to an individual. And then there are subcategories even to what a developer may do. So there are different roles and permissions at an individual account level, if you will. We're done with that. Let's move over to what business accounts look like. Now, in Partner Center, there are two types of business accounts. They are the Partner Global account and a partner location account. And you'll see these referred to, just for brevity, throughout this conversation as PGA and PLA respectively. Uh, they have very different roles. Let's take a look at what a partner global and partner location account, what they are and what they do for us. Well, these are business accounts. And what that means is we're setting up a business entity within Partner Center. And the first thing we will set up, and is actually created for us when we create that Partner Center account the first time, is a Partner Global account, or PGA. Underneath the PGA, associated to them as a parent, you'll find your partner location accounts. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, if we look at this through the lens of Cumulus 26, what we'll find is maybe we've got the Cumulus 26 Global Headquarters PGA account. And underneath that, we may very well have two subsidiary accounts for our partner locations. That is to say, we may have a partner location in the United Kingdom and another one in Japan. And when we do so, our parent company has these attributes or these aspects to it. This is our definitive legal business address, right? This provides our primary contact information for the administrator of Partner Center, so that someone can be contacted in the event of a problem or something to that effect. And what's interesting about a PGA account is that it could be used to publish software. Now, we don't advise that. We advise publishing software through your PLA accounts. And here's what they have. They also have a company location. So you can imagine that the address of our global headquarters is different than that of our location in Japan. And it also is going to have Partner Center account admins. This is just pointing out that Partner Center account admins can add PLAs, right? They can add these partner location accounts. And this is the entity that is likely selling your software for your organization. More on that in just a moment. But that's the seller. Now, let's talk just a moment about Partner Center identifiers here. When I create a PGA, I get a Partner Global ID, and it looks something like this, right? Some generated integer. And I'll often be asked for that if we're trying, for example, to identify an account within Partner Center. Also, with regard to our PLA accounts, we also get a Partner Location ID. Looks similar. In fact, because they're generated really close together, when you create your first one, they often come sequentially in order, which is just a funny thing. All right. Down here at the bottom is where you can go to find these numbers in case you are ever asked about them. And feel free to come back to this video anytime to look this up. You go to Partner Center, and at the top right, you'll find the settings icon. Once clicking that, we can go to the identifiers menu item in the left-hand menu, and then there's a set of tabs from which we will select Microsoft AI Cloud Partner Program. And when we do that, we will see our PJ and PLA accounts and their associated ID numbers. Now, when you first set up Partner Center, and this is hugely important because a lot of people find this part just a little bit confusing. When you first set up Partner Center, of course, you get that PGA account, in our case, the global headquarters for Cumulus 26, and we've got our ID for that. But I also get a global HQ PLA, okay, which is gets its own partner location ID. I don't, and you could sell software. You could go create offers. You could join the marketplace seller program, the Microsoft Commercial Marketplace program. You could sell from this global HQ. Perfectly valid. Um, don't necessarily advise that. Just because if we think about the future growth of our organization, we may want to grow it like so. And even though we're going to be selling primarily within the US or through our US distributor, I'm going to create a second PLA here for Cumulus 26 in our US division. Okay. And that is where I will tie all of the offers that we create. So once I have done my initial login, and we covered this in our previous video as well, but it's worth mentioning, and that is that once we've joined Partner Center, we need to enroll in the Microsoft Commercial Marketplace, I should say the Azure Commercial Marketplace program. This is a seller program and allows you to post or publish offers on Azure Marketplace. When I do this, I get a publisher account. So I'm creating a new account by enrolling in this program. It's called a publisher account, and I get to give it a ID of my choice. In my case, of course, Cumulus 26, and I get an associated seller ID that goes along with that publisher account. That seller ID is a very frequently requested identifier for your accounts from support should you find yourself in that situation. Now, what is a publisher account? Well, it can represent a number of things. It could represent a department. For example, you might have a department that sells a certain product and product line, and another department that sells a different product line. And maybe they work under different budgets, and maybe they have different payout profiles, which is something we're going to cover in just a moment. Now, to see the publishers that we have associated with our PLA accounts, we can go to Partner Center, Settings, Identifiers, just like we did before, but this time we're going to select the Publisher tab on that page. Okay. Now we're going to cover tax and payment profiles and what those look like, because these can be subjects of great confusion for a lot of folks. And we'll continue with our Cumulus Global Headquarters and our UK subsidiary in this case. So we're going to sell primarily through our UK subsidiary in this model. And we're going to create two publishers. And when we do, each one of them will require a payment profile and a tax profile. Now, what are these? A payment profile is the banking information, essentially, that Microsoft needs in order to pay you when customers buy your product through the Azure Marketplace. A tax profile is the mechanism by which it's the information that Microsoft uses to collect taxes on your behalf from the sales of your software. All right. Now, I will tell you that this is kind of the most frequent thing we see for most partners in Marketplace, and it goes a little bit against what I just advised. I advised having separate PLAs from the default one that's created for us. But I will tell you that the large majority of accounts in Partner Center look like this, at least at the beginning. And then people start adding PLAs, they start adding publishers. They're not quite sure what those things, what those entities mean. And that's where we get into some, trouble where we might need help untangling those accounts. But this is what it looks like when you first create your Partner Center account, get your PGA and your PLA. You establish your publisher by joining the reseller program or the Azure commercial marketplace program. You fill out your tax and payment profiles. Great. Now, I will mention that the tax profile is something that Microsoft's not going to advise you on. They suggest that you find an accountant if you have any questions about how to go through that tax validation and tax information process. Now, here's an interesting one. Publishers are where we create our offers. So we've got offers 1 and 2 here, each created under a single publisher associated to my C26 USPLA account. Is this what I advised? Not exactly, because I did advise having subsidiary accounts to my to my global HQ PGA account. That's okay. This is going to work for us, particularly if we continue to sell from our United States location, which happens to be the only one we really have. So under our publisher, we establish our offers, create new offer, and within offers, we create new plans. Now, just to make, and this might be, for example, I've got a security product and a database product. Let's say offer 2 is our security product. And here we might offer a basic, a team, and an enterprise plan. Here we've got 2 plans that we're showing. And what's interesting about a plan is that even though you're selling through your US publisher, you may sell to multiple markets, and you get to specify this at a plan level. So let's go through that just a little bit. There are 141 markets today that you can choose from when you're setting up your plan. Who would I like to, what countries, what regions would I like to sell into? And you can select by default all of the regions in which Microsoft is able to collect taxes on your behalf. That makes it a lot easier. If you prefer, you can select just the region that matches the country or the location that you're selling from. So C26 US is our location account. We've got 1 publisher there. We may only be selling within the US market, and that's what we would set up on our given plans. But hopefully we're selling into other markets, Canada, Europe, Asia, etc. Believe it or not, we're getting kind of toward the end of this. I want you to know that what you're looking at here, by hook or by crook, that is whether it's good or not, is the most common seller configuration you might find in Marketplace. There's nothing wrong with this if you genuinely are not going to typically grow by adding multiple PLA accounts, but you can add multiple PLA accounts even in this situation. So I really, I have no problems with an account that's set up like this. Again, it's when we start adding multiple publishers, we're not sure which ones have our offer. Maybe we've defined 5 offers on 3 different publishers and we want to converge them. Oh boy, that turns into a data entry nightmare. Now, believe it or not, that is pretty much the content for the day. What did we go over? Well, there are obviously different Microsoft and Partner Center type account structures, and those business entities that we covered could be global for those PGA accounts or location-based for those PLA accounts. And remember, there's a parent-child relationship there that we would like to maintain. And along the way, we looked at identifiers for each one of those business entities and account types so that you can get back to them in case you need them to communicate clearly about your situation if you happen to find yourself, say, in a support situation. Now, I do want to talk for a moment about Cumulus 26, or as we affectionately call it around here, C26. Our mission, of course, is accelerating your Azure Marketplace journey. And, in keeping with that, here's a little teaser. We work with you from onboarding to selling your product, and we've been absolutely heads down writing code for what I'll call a top secret product launch coming soon. All right. And that is something we're so excited about around here, because what's it designed to do? As you can imagine, it's designed to accelerate your Azure Marketplace journey. And we guarantee that this product we're bringing to market will do so for you. And that's all I'll say right now about this forthcoming release. But I will say, please follow us on LinkedIn at company/Cumulus26. And we'll certainly be making announcements there. You can follow me personally on LinkedIn, and also contact us to start a really great conversation about anything you like. We are experts in all offer types and love helping partners like yourselves bring your new offers into Partner Center and get selling, get co-selling, get Mac certified, which is a whole nother thing that that really attracts people to your software solutions and marketplace. So hit us up at cumulus26.com or me directly. I'm more than happy to have a direct conversation at davidstarr@cumulus26.com. And with that, I just want to thank everyone who attended today. I'll say that this webinar will be posted on our Learn site. That is at cumulus26.com. And we have a link at the top called named Learn. Select Learn, and you will find these webinars and other materials that we are producing along the way to help you learn more and more about Marketplace. So with that, I just want to thank you so very much for attending today and watching in the future. So have a great day and celebrate that September in Seattle with me. Good night.